Here's a moral question. Is it ever ethical to benefit from a Holocaust? Would you accept an unjust gain made from the exploitation of its victims? The word Holocaust comes from the ancient Greek words holos and kaustos, which means whole burnt offering. In the ancient world, pagans believed that sacrificing an animal as a burnt offering to their gods would bring about blessings. Some would even sacrifice their own children to idols, such as Molech. We might find it hard to understand why people would do something so appalling, but this arrangement dealt with unwanted babies, which meant one could indulge their sexual desires with little consequence, and fewer children would result in a more materialistic lifestyle. This is no different today. In the US alone, between 1973 and 2021, over 43 million babies were purposefully killed in legal abortions, many of them because their conception was the result of casual sex or because their birth would interfere with the lifestyle of their parents. And so, these babies become sacrifices to the gods of sexual freedom and materialism. But there's something you should know, because the story doesn't end there. There's an even darker side to this. Although most of the victims are thrown into incinerators afterwards, bearing a striking similarity to the burnt offerings of the ancient world, some of the victims have been taken so that they could be sold and have their organs harvested and be experimented on for profit. For example, there is a line of human embryonic kidney cells known as HEK293, which were taken from an elected abortion of a girl, which have been kept alive and are used as cell culture material used to grow cells, bacteria, viruses, and proteins used in some medical treatments. Someone might say, well, these have been around for decades. Oh, well, that's all right then. Ask yourself, how recent does a murder have to be before it's wrong to take advantage of their death? What are some Bible principles that you could think about when deciding if you should accept one of these treatments or not? Ephesians 5 verses 10 and 11 says, "Try to learn what pleases the Lord. Have nothing to do with the worthless things that people do, things that belong to the darkness. Instead, bring them out to the light." Also, when Christianity was being established in the 1st century, the council in Jerusalem met to discuss some important issues. They concluded in Acts 15:28-29 that it seemed good to the Holy Spirit and to us to lay on you no greater burden than these requirements, that you abstain from what has been sacrificed to idols. If you keep yourselves from these, you will do well. Why is it so important that we abstain from what has been sacrificed to idols? 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 18 and 20-21 says, "Are not those who eat the sacrifices participants in the altar? What pagans sacrifice, they offer to demons and not to God. I do not want you to be participants with demons. You cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons." For our worship to be acceptable to God, we must carefully keep abstaining from what has been sacrificed to idols. That's why Proverbs 14:12 says, "There is a way which seems right to a person, but its end is the way of death." When we make sure of all things, we make our God happy. Proverbs 27:11 says, "Be wise, my son, and make my heart glad, so that I may reply to one who taunts me." We can also make God's heart glad when we speak the truth, so please help raise awareness of this great evil by sharing this video. Thank you.